Do you know what, like, one of the most gaslighty things in modern day football fandom is obviously it's so vogue to talk about PSR rules, financial fair play, wage bill, revenue generated, net spend, gross profits, yada yada yada. To the point where people, Chelsea fans, Man United fans, Tottenham fans, Man City fans, Liverpool fans, all talk about it on social media, kind of like point scoring, you know? If you can't win football matches, you can win the transfer market, or now you can win the accounting books. Which is just really, to me, it's just the echo chamber of social media with football fans trying to clutch onto something to say we're doing something good. But the cold, hard, and probably beautiful truth of it is it's just the game that counts. Scoring goals, winning football matches, going to see your team kick a football in the back of the net more times than the opposition has managed to do so. A match day experience with, family, different generations taking you to either your local team or the club you support. You travel up there. Fans around the world that get up at all sorts of times at night to watch their beloved team. Just fans in the UK on a Sunday sitting on the sofa, cracking open a couple of cold ones and watching your team, hoping to win. And I say that because lately, people who worked in football or ex-owners and managers that have become pundits and people on the TV are always praising Tottenham. Daniel Levy and Tottenham, what a well-run club Tottenham are. They generate so much organic revenue now. They're just really good. Beyonce plays there all the time at the stadium. Yeah. Beyonce. Lovely. Aren't you proud that Beyonce's singing in your stadium? This is precisely what football fans and therefore Tottenham fans are, presumably the majority of them, not interested in. They currently lie 15th in the Premier League table. The best financially run club in the league. 15th. Yeah. With easily the best stadium in the league. Amazing stadium. Beautiful stadium. Beyonce plays there. Does Taylor Swift play there? I imagine she has. NFL games are played there, yeah? Be proud because another sport is played at your stadium. Now, that is not what you want to hear as a football fan. And I can speak with some confidence as a Chelsea fan that, in terms of it's different. Chelsea are not making money like Tottenham, but they are finding ways to creatively, moonwalk around certain financial rules with creative accounting, yada, yada, yada. All anyone really cares as a football fan is they want to win. Football is about winning, but they want to feel a connection to the team and, dare I say, ideally the manager as well, but mainly the team. If the manager's just quiet on the touchline getting things done, fine. But the team, you want to believe in your team, feel like they're fighting for your crest, for your badge, and you can believe in them to do well. And Tottenham, yes, I'm gonna put away the biased banter Chelsea fan and me. They're a big Premier League team. There is something to be said with that stadium, an amazing training complex. Great training facilities, and they have had the capacity, due to how well run they've been, to entice the likes of Antonio Conte, who's still in his prime as a coach, and Mourinho who obviously has gone on to different clubs since, Roma and now in Turkey, and he's probably comfortably on the decline now, Mourinho, and he's leaning more into his box office theatrics now more than ever. But not we all, but many of us would have seen that documentary where Daniel Levy couldn't believe his luck. He got Jose Mourinho. He was all starry-eyed, like, Jose Mourinho got me managing Tottenham, my club Tottenham. But so they're not like some minnows as much as, the Chelsea fan or the Arsenal fans or the West Ham fans or whatever fans that like to banter Tottenham, which is ever increasing, could be like, we're a small club, going to get relegated. The truth is, it's simply not the truth. They haven't won in a long time. They're desperate for a trophy. And they are completely out of sorts. Of course, I record this in the wake of their 4-2 loss to Wolverhampton Wanderers, who were and are below them in the table, but only 2 points now. Of course, they're in a relegation fight. I mean, you wouldn't bet against Wolves overtaking Tottenham in the league now. So Tottenham, they did score a lot of goals. They're still somehow on plus 11 goal difference. Yeah. Where, Aston Villa are in 7th, have got plus 3 goal difference. So they've got 8 more positive on goal difference than 7th place, who are joint on 6th place and might be getting into the Champions League. So they scored a lot of goals. They slapped about some teams, but they are in all out of sorts. Such poor form. And you really wonder, what's next? Because they are in this sort of weird half space where they can... I mean, I've got no faith in them whatsoever, and I imagine very little, football fans, pundits, analysts, whatever, people in the media, broadcasters, have faith in Tottenham to win the Europa League. They were favourites for a long, long time by the bookmakers. I'm just quickly going to check now, just for reference to see. Bilbao Athletic Club are now favourites, then Man United, then Tottenham, then Frankfurt. So they're still third favourites, but they were the favourites for a long time. They could win. The thing is, this is such a peculiar... Again, the paradox thing is here, the really well-run club, the awful team. And the paradox is the awful season and potentially a historic season. Because should they go on and win the Europa League, not only do they win that first trophy for God knows how many long years. I mean, I think they might have won Europa League. I definitely don't have a Champions League, but they might have won Europa League. Forgive me if I'm wrong. I do think they have some form of European trophy somewhere. Certainly, they haven't won a trophy in a long, long time. It would be massive in their modern era, especially now the Europa League's better, because obviously there's conference teams and teams are getting better, and it qualifies them for the Champions League, and Ange can be like, ha! I always win a trophy in my second season, I told you. So there is this peculiar situation where it's a bit paradoxical, but would you back them? Probably not. They got outshot by Wolves in that game as well, so it's not even like they were throwing in way more shots. It is so strange. I mean, for me, my money, Andrew's got to go. There's been talks that the only reason why he's still there is sort of protecting Levy to a degree. Levy's trying to utilise him as a bit of a sponge for some of the abuse. Of course, Tottenham fans are shouting Levy out still. They're doing protests against Enoch and Levy prior to that. But yeah, there's just something so I don't know, I say gaslighting because it is a little bit like, you don't know how good you've got it. Look at these facilities. Look at this stadium, We've got the best managers around. It's not our fault how it hasn't worked. But obviously, like all failures of clubs, it's sporting structure, squad composition, long-term planning. It's all been absent. And, I recently watched that clip of Antonio Conte just before he got sacked, losing his mind in that really famous press conference where he just lost his sugar, basically, and started ranting and raving about Tottenham and this is not going to change. I don't want a trophy, these owners. It's not going to, this is hot. This is Tottenham. He did a bit of the Chiellini. This is the history of the Tottenham. And Tottenham fans have been circulating that again in, in the wake of how things have been so far. And look, I did a video on Ange not so long ago saying what happened because he's gone from this breath of fresh air. Because I did a video, the most viewed video on this channel is, why I hate that I love the Tottenham manager. I hate it because I'm a Chelsea fan. But when he first came in, I was just like, wow, this guy is... Yeah, he's literally like a geezer you could have a beer with in the pub who's just finished his plumbing shift. Do you know what I mean? It just seems real. But he's just, despite being the oldest or second oldest manager in the league, he's turned into this frustrated, petulant child. He just blames everything, whether it's the injuries or the referees. Of course, now his injured players are back and they're still playing bad. And he just turns on the media. He's just easily wound up. He's just so, he's not chill at all. And he's got to go. Look, the Tottenham squad isn't awful. It's, Solanke's a good player. He is. Brennan Johnson scoring. If they keep Matty's tell, I think he's good. Madison's good. Basuma can be good. Perhaps I'm looking at all these people. I know he scored an own goal, but Jed Spence has clearly got something. And they've got, in the first choice centre-backs in terms of Romero and Van der Ven. I know Romero's been looking terrible lately, but Kulusevski... Bro, Kulusevski was like one of the form attackers in the Premier League. Like the beginning of the Premier League, people were thinking, yeah, this guy, Kulusevski is sick, bro. And Bergvall and Porro was like a high score. They've got players there. I'm looking at it now. With the three youngsters, Mikey Moore, Archie Gray, and Bergvall, they've got great young players. They've got some older players. I do think Son might be cooked. Richarlison unknown, but they're not that far away. But they're just so bad. And it's so tricky I think Tottenham have a much better team than Man United. And they're both equally out of sorts at the bottom of the table. Which makes you think, doesn't it? Anyway, look, I wanted to speak about Tottenham because I hadn't really spoken about them holistically yet in this recent batch of uploads. So here we go. Do let me know your thoughts, please, in the comment section. Thank you, as always, for your continued support. The channel's for this channel, it's popping off at the moment. I'm uploading multiple videos a day. I'm getting a bunch of new subscribers, so you're all most welcome. Thank you for liking and subscribing, and I hope to see you back here soon. Peace.